Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm Aaron Johnson with the Johnson iRacing team, bringing you today's feature event. It is the Tyler Daniels Racing Xfinity League from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The cars and stars of TDR going to go head-to-head for 50 laps at Indianapolis. Tyler Daniels Racing is an inclusive, diverse community that prides itself on welcoming all members regardless of their background, history, or ability. Tyler Daniels Racing has a charitable focus. We've held charity races for the Iowa Food Bank, the Wyoming County Animal Shelter, the Drive to Stay Alive 200 for mental health awareness, as well as assisting individual members. Tyler Daniels Racing team members care about each other. We're a big family. Yeah, we squabble sometimes, but we care about each other in racing and in life. TDR prides itself on intense, clean iRacing leagues in action. No matter your skill level or interest, Tyler Daniels Racing has something for you. NASCAR, IndyCar, asphalt, oval, Legends car, road, you name it. If you can race it on the iRacing platform, chances are Tyler Daniels Racing has a league that will feature those automobiles and those courses. Well, today is the TDR Xfinity Series from Indianapolis, 50 laps, a small field today, only 11 cars taking the green flag, and let's have a look at those 11 drivers. Starting in the 11th spot in car number 47, that's Will Brinkley, Will racing out of the Mid-South region. In the 10th starting spot in car number 00, that's the Mizzou car of Aaron Johnson, Johnson in the Mustang out of Bailey, Colorado. Starting 9th in car number 26, that's Mark Bradshaw, Bradshaw in the BACC Charities Mustang out of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Starting 8th in car number 25, that's the man, Tyler Daniels himself, running the TDR Chevrolet out of Warsaw, New York. Starting in the 7th spot in car number 16, that is Fish Fisher, the admin box Mustang, Fish racing out of Long Island, New York. Starting 6th in car number 41, that is downtown Marty Brown, Marty racing out of Louisiana in the Sunny South Recovery Mustang. Starting at 5th in car 710, that is Jared McKinney, Jared in the Sundrop Mustang racing out of Chillicothe, Ohio. Now let's have a look at the top 4 starters on the second row outside. Car number 61, that is Keith Fonseca. Keith Fonseca running in the back row sim racing car. That's a Chevrolet out of the Virginia's region. Starting 3rd in car number 96, that's David Tremblay in the Dude Wipes Pudge Grudge Mustang. Tremblay racing out of Toledo, Ohio. On the front row outside in car number 69, he's going to show up on your telemetry as car number 51. That is Lucas Gortman. Gortman running the back row sim racing Toyota out of the Carolinas region. And on the pole in the Tracker Boats Chevrolet racing out of California, that is car number 3, David Brown. Brown going to show up on your telemetry as car number 12. Small field today taking the initial laps around Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're at the Brickyard for 50 laps in the TDR Xfinity Series. David Brown, a past champion in TDR. He's won a lot of races at the ARCA level of the TDR leagues. Jumping up into the Xfinity League for a new league that was offered last summer and has continued through the fall. If you're interested in Tyler Daniels Racing leagues, look up the Tyler Daniels Racing Facebook page, ask to join it. Then go to tylerdracing.com and select the league or leagues that you would be interested in racing. Keep in mind, TDR has no participation requirements. We want you to race as much or as little as you can stand. Pace car leading the field through the short chute as they come into turn number 4. Downtown Marty Brown in the 3rd spot. In the 6th spot, David Brown on the front row. He's sitting on the pole. Pace car should be heading in at any moment. Pace car is in. David Brown leading the field. And the green flag is out. David Brown hammers the throttle, as does Lucas Gortman. Brown and Gortman up front, followed behind Tremblay and Keith Fonseca. Brown jumps into an early lead, taking the low line through turn number 1. Big, wide, sweeping corners in Indianapolis, then short chute before you get into that second turn. Fonseca right on Brown's back bumper. Sorry, Fonseca right on Gortman's back bumper. Gortman right on Brown's back bumper. 3 cars getting in line quickly and early, and the field is already beginning to string out. Brown leads, Gortman in second. Looks like a little bit of internet lag for David Brown. That can end up maybe being a problem. It's really hard to race with someone when you're not sure where their car is going to appear and disappear. Brown leading the field out of turn number 4. They're going to come onto the long front straightaway here at Indianapolis, and it looks like David Brown will lead the first of 50 laps at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Brown and Gortman beginning to pull away from the 61 of Fonseca. David Tremblay in the 4th spot. Marty Brown in 5th with Jared McKinney in 6th. McKinney shows up on your screen as car 710, but in your telemetry at the top of the screen is car 772. Aaron Johnson moving up into what looked like the 9th spot. Johnson trying to work his way forward. Now Johnson's moved into the 8th spot, already 10 seconds back of the leader, David Brown, as Brown, Gortman, Fonseca, and David Tremblay begin to pull away from the rest of the field. At Tracker Chevrolet, a quick race car, as Brown, Gortman, and Fonseca are the top 3, with David Tremblay then followed by Marty Brown in 5th, Jared McKinney in 6th, Tyler Daniels currently being shown in the 7th spot. We are 3 laps into a 50-lap event from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's the Tyler Daniels Racing Xfinity Summer League. The field really beginning to string out now. A 2.5-mile track with 11 cars, should be plenty of room. Tyler Daniels Racing prides itself on clean, exciting action. One of the TDR rules is that if you make a mistake, you take responsibility when you make it. The idea is to race as clean and hard as you can, knowing that if you're racing hard, you're going to make some mistakes, and when you do, you just own those mistakes and go on. We are 3 laps in as David Brown rolls out of turn 4 onto the front straightaway. Brown and Gortman extending the lead over the 61 of Fonseca, who currently sits in the 3rd spot. Let's have a look at how they run on the speedway. Out front, that is the 3 of David Brown. Brown, that Tracker Chevrolet running up front. Just behind him, it's the Toyota of Lucas Gortman. Gortman, the back row sim racing Toyota. Just behind him, that's his back row sim racing teammate. It's the 61 of Keith Fonseca. Just behind Fonseca, that's the 96 of David Tremblay. Tremblay currently being shown in the 4th spot. And then a battle for position, as it looks as though the 710 of Jared McKinney trying to make his way around the 41 of Marty Brown. Downtown Marty Brown drops back into the 5th spot. Just behind them, Tyler Daniels getting really sideways, almost loses the car. That is going to allow Aaron Johnson to go around on the outside. Johnson in that Mizzou 00, the white gold Tiger car. Just behind him, that's Tyler Daniels. Those 2 cars battling right now for 7th and 8th spot. Then just behind Tyler Daniels, that's the 47 of Will Brinkley. Brinkley being shown in the 9th spot. Just behind Brinkley, that's the 26 of Mark Bradshaw. Bradshaw currently sits in the 10th position. And then behind Bradshaw, we're around to the leader, David Brown. Looks like Fisher's had to go into the pits. Fisher may just now be making his way back out. Let's see if we can't find that 16 car. Yes, Fisher just now getting up to speed as he'd had some sort of an incident. That'll drop him to the 11th spot, well behind the leader. Still on the lead lap. Fisher 30 seconds back of your leader. That's the 12, David Brown. Brown beginning to put a little distance between himself and the 69 of Gortman. Lucas Gortman, a regular in TDR, a regular in the TDR IROC series. That's the International Race of Champions TDR style. The way that works is as you race during the season for Tyler Daniels Racing, you accumulate IROC points. You accumulate those points by starting races, finishing in the top 5 of a league, winning league events, supporting TDR charitable initiatives. And at the end of the season, we take the top 30 drivers that have accumulated TDR points over the year. We add 3 competitors' choices. We take the 30 drivers that have made it, and we ask them to name 3 other drivers that may have been outside that top 30, but embody what we look for in TDR, the charitable focus, the excellent competition, looking out for other drivers. We take those 33 and then we run a Tyler Daniels Racing iRock Series that tries to crown the best driver on TDR for the season. That iRock Series is ongoing in November and December. Out front, David Brown leads. We're 7 laps into a 50-lap event. David Brown pulling away from the field. Gortman trying to stay in contact. Those two cars pulling away from the 61 of Keith Fonseca. Fonseca doing a nice job. One of the most improved drivers on the TDR service. Keith Fonseca has really upped his game over the last 12 months. And just behind Fonseca, that's the 96 of David Tremblay, with McKinney in 5th, Marty Brown in 6th, Aaron Johnson in 7th. Looks like Johnson may be closing in on Marty Brown. Let's go back and have a look and see if those two cars are ready to battle for position, as Johnson and the 47 of Will Brinkley look like they may be closing in on the 41 of Marty Brown. Marty Brown just behind the 710 of Jared McKinney. McKinney out of Chillicothe, Ohio, member of the Johnson iRacing team. Running a nice smooth race here. McKinney good in the Xfinity cars, also does a nice job racing in the Legends cars with TDR and on the iRacing official race series, as Johnson is closing in on the 41 of Marty Brown. It looks like David Brown out front is extending the lead, and he and Gortman are pulling away from the 61 of Keith Fonseca. Let's go back out front and see what's going on with the 3 of David Brown. Brown about 5 car lengths ahead of Lucas Gortman. Gortman running second. Those two cars pulling away, extending the lead over third spot now, as Gortman and Brown have extended that lead to about 3 seconds over the third place car. David Brown, very good in the big cars here. He's good in these big-bodied, full-bodied stock cars. Runs a nice, smooth race. Takes good care of his equipment. Gortman just trying to stay in contact. It's a long race. We are 9 laps into a 50-lap feature. David Brown with the lead. 125 miles in Indianapolis today. We have come just about 22 and a half, and at the 22 and a half mile mark, it's David Brown with the lead. Aaron Johnson looks like he's closing in even more on Marty Brown. Has just gone around Brown, so Aaron Johnson has moved into the 6th spot, and he will set his sights on chasing down the 710 of Jared McKinney. Johnson running a higher line through the corners, carries a little more speed up top, but it is the long way around. Johnson a little lower there in turn number 4 as they come out onto the front straightaway. Johnson trying to chase down the 710 of Jared McKinney. Out front, it is still the 3 of David Brown, although it looks like Gortman may have closed ever so slightly. Gortman now about four car lengths behind. He's running a slightly lower line through these wide sweeping corners as well. And we can see Gortman is gaining now. Lucas Gortman beginning to think about applying some pressure to the 3 of David Brown. Brown trying to break the draft, moves down the track now back up to get entry into turn number 1. Brown running right down on the white line here. Gortman trying to close in. David Brown trying to break the draft down the front straightaway in hopes of arresting this momentum that Lucas Gortman has built. Gortman closing in on that Tracker Chevrolet. They're down the back straightaway. You can see Brown trying to break the draft. Gortman trying to stay in contact. David Brown with a quick race car. Down the front straightaway. We start lap number 11 of 50. It is David Brown with the lead. Lucas Gortman running in the 2nd spot. Keith Fonseca 3rd. David Tremblay 4th. Jared McKinney in 5th with Aaron Johnson in 6th. Although it looks like Johnson really trying to close in on the 710 of Jared McKinney. Otherwise, cars spread out all over the racetrack. Not a whole lot of racing action on the Speedway. Out front, it is still David Brown, although Lucas Gortman is closing. Gortman now about 3 car lengths behind, very slowly closing each lap. Gortman relentless in his pursuit of the lead. Brown in the Chevrolet, Gortman in the Toyota. Fonseca in a Chevrolet is 3rd. Tremblay in a Mustang is 4th. McKinney's in a Mustang in 5th. Johnson Mustang 6th. Marty Brown's in a Mustang. He is 7th. Will Brinkley What kind of car is Will Brinkley running? Brinkley running, looks like a Toyota. Brinkley in the 8th spot, the Chevrolet of Tyler Daniels in 9th, the Mustang of Mark Bradshaw in 10th, and the Mustang of Fisher in 11th. Break down 2 Toyotas, looks like 3 Chevrolets, and then 6 Fords in the field. Out front, it's the Chevrolet of David Brown. Brown trying to hold off Lucas Gortman. We are 12 laps in, a quarter of the way through. And David Brown continues to lead. Fisher has moved into the 10th spot. He's made his way around the 26 of Mark Bradshaw. Indianapolis, a challenging track. Big, wide, sweeping corners with long straightaways and then narrow straight chutes between the turns. Driving into the corners, a balance and pushing that car hard, but also saving tires. I'd expect that at the halfway point we should see some pit stops. I don't think that drivers and cars are going to make the full 125 miles on one tank of fuel. I expect the strategy will be to pit somewhere around lap 25. Short pitting could come into play. If you pit short and you're a second a lap faster for 2 or 3 laps, you can make up a lot of ground in a hurry on the cars out front. So I expect pit stops will be some sort of strategy involved somewhere around lap number 25. David Brown running a flawless race so far, but Gortman is gaining. He is now a car length back. Lucas Gortman's going to try to find his way around the 3 of David Brown. Gortman in that 69 car looks to the inside. Brown giving up the high line as Lucas Gortman gets position. They come out of the turn into the straightaway here, down the back straight, and it looks like Lucas Gortman is going to take the lead. Gortman kind of wins a drag race off the corner, and it's going to be Lucas Gortman pulling out front now. David Brown had led from the green flag, but 14 laps in, Lucas Gortman takes the lead from Brown. They're on the front straight, in the short chute between 3 and 4. Now they'll come out of 4 onto the front straightaway, and it'll be Lucas Gortman. Gortman beginning to pull away. He's about 3 car lengths ahead of Brown and gaining. Gortman out front, Brown second, Fonseca third, Tremblay fourth. Looks like McKinney in the 5th spot with Johnson in 6th, Marty Brown 7th, Will Brinkley 8th, Tyler Daniels 9th, Fisher in 10th, and Mark Bradshaw running 11th. Gortman in the green, black, and purple back row sim racing car running a nice race as he heads down the back straightaway. Lap number 15 of 50 is underway. Looks like there's a little battle brewing back here between the 61 of Fonseca and the 96 of Tremblay. Tremblay looking to the inside as they go down the front straightaway into turn number 1. And Tremblay going to take and make the pass. David Tremblay will find his way around the 61 of Keith Fonseca. Tremblay in that Dude Wipes Pudge Grudge car running out front. David Tremblay, a regular and a past champion in Legends and I believe in the ARCA division as well. So David Tremblay doing a nice race, doing a nice job in this race as he's moved into the 3rd spot. Just behind them, we're going to see what's going on between Johnson and that 710 car. Johnson really trying to close in here. He's about 7 car lengths back. He's been closing just ever so slightly on McKinney. Johnson now beginning to reel McKinney in. We're lap 16 of 50 is in the books. Aaron Johnson trying to find his way around the 710 of Jared McKinney. We're going to stick with the action here as Johnson is chasing McKinney down, closing in on the driver from Chillicothe, Ohio. Johnson and McKinney into turn number 3. Aaron Johnson now about 3 car lengths back. The 00 seems to be getting a little better, or maybe dropping off a little less on these long runs. Looks like McKinney had a little wiggle as he came out of turn number 3. Now the 2 cars through 3 and 4 onto the front straightaway. Aaron Johnson about 2 car lengths back of the 710 of Jared McKinney. Johnson closing down the front straightaway. The Mustang strong. These 2 Fords battle it out. This is the battle for 5th spot, so a top 5 position on the line. Johnson looks to the inside as they go into turn number 1, brings that car right down on the white line. McKinney giving Johnson plenty of room. They come out of 1 into the short chute. Aaron Johnson with position. He'll go into turn number 2 and try to solidify that pass as he comes out of 2 onto the back straightaway. Aaron Johnson has moved into the 5th spot, taking that from the 7-10 of Jared McKinney. Out front, we see that the 3 of David Brown is sticking with the 69 of Gortman. Brown about 3 car lengths back. Lucas Gortman so far unable to extend the lead. We're 17 laps into a 50-lap event, and Lucas Gortman has taken the lead. Gortman took over on lap number 14. We begin lap number 18 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway with Lucas Gortman showing the way around the 2.5 miles at the Brickyard. Let's have a look again at how they run on the Speedway. The second car in line here on the Speedway is the 3 of David Brown. Brown currently shown in the 2nd spot. Next car on the Speedway behind Brown is the 96 of David Trumbley. Trumbley about 6 seconds back in 3rd. Behind Trumbley, that's the 61 of Keith Fonseca. Fonseca currently running 4th. Behind him, that's the 00 of Johnson. Johnson running in the 5th spot, but he is well back of Keith Fonseca. About, looks like it might be 7 or 8 seconds back. Behind Johnson, that's the 710 of Jared McKinney. McKinney currently in the 6th spot. The next car on the Speedway behind McKinney is the 47 of Will Brinkley. Brinkley in 7th. And behind Brinkley, that's the 41 of Marty Brown. Brown currently shown in 8th. On the Speedway behind Marty Brown, that's the 25 of Tyler Daniels. Daniels currently in the 9th spot. Following Daniels on the track, that's the 16 of Fish Fisher. And just behind Fisher, that's the 26 of Mark Bradshaw. Bradshaw, the last car on the lead lap. Once we get past Bradshaw, we're back around to the leader. That's the 69 of Lucas Gortman. We are 19 laps into a 50-lap event. Short pitting could become an option with about 30 laps to go. I would expect pit stops to begin anytime between lap 20 and lap 30 or 30, maybe 32. So we'd expect to see some pit stops there as Gortman gets a little out of shape coming off the turn, manages to catch it as they come out of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. Gortman leads. He's about 5 car lengths ahead of the 3 of Marty Brown. Gortman now trying to break up the draft, moves down toward the inside line, now comes back up high as he comes back across the start-finish line. We are 20 laps in. Lucas Gortman holding on to the lead. Gortman running a nice smooth race. He and Marty Brown definitely he and David Brown definitely the class of the field. David Tremblay in the 3rd spot with Fonseca 4th. Aaron Johnson has moved into 5th. Johnson is well back of the 61 of Keith Fonseca. Lucas Gortman with the lead. We are 20 laps in. We would expect really any time between now and about lap 32 to see some drivers pitting. We're seeing our first driver pitting now, the 25 of Tyler Daniels, just now coming out of the pits. Daniels has pitted. Mark Bradshaw has also pitted, so 2 drivers pitting early. That short pitting will give them about a second or a second and a half advantage over the drivers on older tires. A second and a half per lap. You run 4 or 5 laps, you can make up 5 or 6 seconds. So Tyler Daniels taking an early pit stop at Indianapolis. Out front, it's the 69 of Lucas Gortman. Looks like Will Brinkley might be in the pits now. Brinkley just now going in, so Will Brinkley choosing to short pit as well. Brinkley was running in the 7th spot. He'll give that spot up as he comes in to take tires. We'll watch and see as the action boils over at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Brinkley coming into the pits. He's going to take a full stop. Looks like he'll get tires and fuel back out front. It is the 69 of Lucas Gortman with the lead, trying to hold off the 12 of David Brown. 21 laps in. We should expect to see more pitting at any time, as the short pit does give a bit of an advantage provided the caution doesn't come out. That's a gamble that Tyler Daniels, Mark Bradshaw were willing to take. Will Brinkley will go a lap down as he pits on lap number 21. We are 22 laps in. Lucas Gortman with the lead. Brown in 2nd. Those 2 cars the class of the field. David Tremblay in 3rd. We can see Will Brinkley just now coming out of the pits. We would expect more cars to pit at just about any moment. Typically 25, 26 laps in, you'll begin to see multiple pit stops. Again, a small field today, only 11 cars in the race. Of those 11, it's Lucas Gortman with the lead, followed by the 12 of David Brown. Brinkley now a lap down in ninth. That leaves 8 cars on the lead lap. Those 8, Gortman, Brown, Trumbley, Fonseca, Aaron Johnson, Downtown, Marty Brown, Jared McKinney, and Fish Fisher. The top 8 drivers, those 8 on the lead lap. Will Brinkley in 9th, Tyler Daniels in 10th, and Mark Bradshaw in 11th are currently 1 lap down. Out front, it is Lucas Gortman showing the way, followed by Brown and Trumbley. Gortman trying to break the draft yet again, hoping to hold that flying number 3 of David Brown off. We can just begin to see coming into the view screen a lap car. Couldn't tell for sure who that was. Don't know if that was Fisher or if it's one of the cars that had pitted earlier. We'll try to keep our eyes on that and see if the leaders are gaining on this lap traffic, to see if lap traffic might come into play. 23 laps in, Gortman leads. David Brown is there. He's a car length back. The draft helping to pull Brown even closer to the 69 of Gortman. We are on lap number 24 of 50. Gortman leads. Gortman 1, Brown 2, Trumbley 3, Fonseca 4, Johnson 5. Marty Brown is in the 6th spot with McKinney 7th, Fisher 8th. Those 8 cars still on the lead lap. Johnson closing in on the 61 of Keith Fonseca. We take a look. Aaron Johnson has been able to reel Fonseca in somewhat. Johnson at one point about 6 seconds back of Fonseca, now only about 2 seconds back. Not close enough to make a battle of it yet. So we'll go back out front to watch this battle between Lucas Gortman and David Brown. We are on lap 24 of 50. I would expect pit stops at any moment. The leaders pulling away nearly 9 seconds ahead of the 3rd place car of David Trumbley. Behind Trumbley, it's Fonseca, Johnson, Marty Brown, Jared McKinney, and Fish Fisher. Those are the 8 cars still on the lead lap. Lucas Gortman in that green, purple, and black back row sim racing car, in a familiar position as well, as Gortman tends to run up front on a regular basis. Gortman and Brown, 2 of the better drivers, these big full-bodied stock cars. Gortman comes through turn 3, now through the short chute between 3 and 4. He's going to come out of 4 onto the front straightaway. We are at the halfway point. This time by will mark the halfway point of this TDR Xfinity Series race as the leaders are pulling in on Fish Fisher. Looked like Fisher just touched the outside wall, trying to give the leaders some room. Fisher off the gas in turn number 1 as we watch Gortman and David Brown closing in. Fisher stays on the high side. Now they're in the short chute. Fisher moves up to give the leaders some room. We are at the halfway point. Gortman puts Fisher a lap down. That leaves 7 cars on the lead lap. Gortman, Brown, Trumbley, Fonseca, Johnson, Marty Brown, and Jared McKinney, the only cars remaining on the lead lap. I would expect to see pit stops at any time. Gortman out front, David Brown in second. Will the leaders pit together and hope to use the draft, or will they pit separately? Only the shadow knows. Lucas Gortman running a nice race. He's going to come by to begin lap number 27. Gortman leads Brown. Looks like Fish Fisher has gone into the pits. We can see Fish coming in. He must have decided that after he went a lap down, it was time to pit. We watch Johnson and Marty Brown, or Keith Fonseca, go by. Looks like Aaron Johnson has made the pass on the 61 of Marty Brown. Or sorry, Keith Fonseca. So Johnson up into the 4th spot. That 00 car looking pretty good right now. Fisher's still in the pits. Looks like Fish will go 2 laps down. Gortman still out front, leading the 3 of David Brown. Brown showing up as 12 on your telemetry. He is in the Tracker Boats car number 3. That's sort of a Dale Earnhardt throwback car. Bass Pro Shops Bass Tracker on the 3 car as David Brown is closing in on the 69 of Gortman. Again, sorry about that. 51 on the telemetry, 69 on the screen. watch Gortman and Brown putting on a clinic, really showing how to get around this racetrack. Fisher's still in the pits. He must be having some damage repaired, so Fisher going to go several laps down. Looked earlier like Fish might have gotten into that outside wall. iRacing, the way iRacing works and the way Tyler Daniels Racing Leagues work is, generally speaking, we give you one quick repair. Quick repair, you pull into the pits, the damage is repaired to the best it can be automatically, so it's not modeled in real time. You can repair the damage as quickly as you change tires and fuel. Once you've used that quick repair, any new damage that needs to be repaired is modeled damage. And what that means is they try to assess the damage to the car and determine how long that would take if you were in a real-world racing situation, and that's the amount of time it takes to repair the damage. So if we're putting 200-mile-an-hour tape on a fender and hood, it might take 30 seconds. But if we're having to replace part of the front clip, tape that all back into place, it might take several laps, 4, 5, 6 minutes. That's really what we're looking at. 22 laps to go. Gortman with the lead. Brown second, Trumbley third. Johnson has moved into the fourth spot. Johnson started out in 10th, so he's jumped up 6 spots in this TDR Xfinity feature event from Indianapolis. Don't know when to expect pit stops. I would probably have expected drivers further back to go ahead and short pit. The 11 cars on a 2.5-mile track, the chances that a yellow flag will come out are fairly slim, especially as the field has become a little bit more strung out. So not a lot of nose-to-tail racing, not a lot of hard racing going on. So really, the only thing that'll bring out a caution is a mistake that collects someone else. One of the other rules in Tyler Daniels Racing is if you spin by yourself, you don't involve another car, you have to get yourself underway. If you crash and you're in the infield, you hit the escape button and get yourself a tow. The only time we throw yellow flags is when multiple cars are involved in an accident. We do see cars in the pits now. Looks like Marty Brown is in the pit, or sorry, Keith Fonseca is in the pit. Looks like Jared McKinney in the 72 also coming in. So Fonseca and McKinney pitting now. Those two cars are going to come in and take tires. That leaves Gortman, Brown, Trumbley, and Johnson, along with Marty Brown, as the 5 cars that have not yet pitted. Easy to make it to the end of the race here with 21 to go. As we see Keith Fonseca is in the pit. Lucas Gortman, the leader, coming in now. We can see Lucas Gortman coming in. David Brown coming in. That's going to leave David Trumbley and Aaron Johnson and Marty Brown as the only 3 cars that have yet to pit. And it looks like Trumbley's going to stay out. Johnson's coming in, so we can see Aaron Johnson. He's coming into the pit as well, so Johnson's going to come in. That'll leave Trumbley and Marty Brown as the 2 drivers that have yet to pit. That'll put David Trumbley in the lead. So Trumbley's out front in the 96. He'll be your leader. Don't know yet, as Marty Brown has come in. So David Trumbley, the car remaining on the speedway, David Trumbley is the only car that has yet to pit. Trumbley will have the lead, and I would bet that David Trumbley is watching for a caution here. Trumbley's strategy may be to stay out as long as he can and see if a caution will be his friend. Gortman, Brown, Johnson, Brown, and McKinney still in the pits. Keith Fonseca has exited, as has Will Brinkley. This is going to shake up the field a little bit. Jared McKinney will now be 1 lap down. In fact, everyone will be either a lap down or close to it as Trumbley decides to come in. So David Trumbley coming into the pits. That's going to give the lead back over to the 3 of David Brown. Brown in the lead, Trumbley looking to the outside. Not Trumbley, Gortman looking to the outside. So David Brown leads, Gortman in second. Trumbley is in the pits, so this is your leader. David Brown will be your leader the next time by the flag stand. It just takes a bit for the telemetry to update, as iRacing has a single scoring loop. That single scoring loop at the start-finish line doesn't give you an update on where those cars on the speedway officially with the way the telemetry works. 19 laps to go. David Brown is your leader. Gortman runs second. Aaron Johnson is in the 3rd spot. Gortman now looks to the inside of the 3 of David Brown. Gortman trying to make this pass stick. They come into the short chute and then out onto the back straightaway. Gortman doesn't quite have enough race car to get it done. He's going to look to the inside again. Will Brinkley now being shown in the 4th spot. So Brinkley's jumped up somehow, as it looks like Johnson may have had an issue in the pits. by virtue of short pitting, Will Brinkley really made a big gain on these other racers. So Will Brinkley doing a nice job. It'll be Trumbley 1, Brown 2, Gortman 3, Johnson 4. That's the official running order, although this time by it should reset to show David Brown in the lead. Brown's up front. Gortman is in the second spot. Those two cars, the class of the field, David Trumbley currently being shown in third, about half a lap behind the leaders. Will Brinkley in fourth, Johnson in fifth. Keith Fonseca sixth, Tyler Daniels seventh, Marty Brown in eighth, Jared McKinney in ninth. Those 9 cars on the lead lap, Mark Bradshaw and Fisher both laps down as we watch Lucas Gortman trying to find his way around the 3 of David Brown. Gortman with position as they go into the turn. Come out of the corner now onto the short chute. Gortman trying to make his way around. David Brown using the high side and allowing his momentum to help him pull past the 69 of Gortman. They come out of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. Gortman and Brown in a drag race as they head into turn number 1. Who will have position? It looks like Lucas Gortman is going to take the position from David Brown. Brown fighting back on the outside. David Brown doing a nice job, really making that high line work and making Lucas Gortman work for it as we watch other battles on the speedway. Looks like Keith Fonseca has made his way around the 00 of Aaron Johnson. Aaron Johnson going the wrong way. He was in fourth. Will Brinkley got him. Keith Fonseca got past him, so Johnson's dropped back into the 6th spot. Aaron Johnson struggling. We see Mark Bradshaw has gone back into the pits. Not sure what's happening with Mark. We are on lap 33 of 50, so about 2/3 of the way through, and Mark Bradshaw is back into the pits. We'll go back out front with the 69 of Lucas Gortman. Gortman leading, David Brown in the 2nd spot. Brown doing a nice job holding on, trying to keep up with that 69 of Gortman, trying to make a race of this as we get closer to the end. Let's have a look at how they run on the speedway. The first car on the speedway is the 69 of Lucas Gortman. Just behind Gortman, that is the 3 of David Brown. Next car on the track behind Brown is the 96 of David Trumbley. Trumbley currently being shown in the 3rd spot. Behind Trumbley, it's the 47 of Will Brinkley. Brinkley currently being shown in 4th. Then behind Brinkley, that's the 61 of Keith Fonseca. Fonseca currently in the 5th spot. Just behind Fonseca, that's the 00 of Aaron Johnson. Johnson's dropped back into 6th. And behind Johnson, the next car on the speedway, the 16 of Fisher. Fish currently in 10th, 1 lap down. The next car on the speedway is the 41 of Marty Brown. Marty Brown running in the 7th spot. And behind Brown, that is the man himself, Tyler Daniels, currently shown in 8th. Behind Daniels, that's the 710 of Jared McKinney. McKinney, the last car on the lead lap. And just behind McKinney, we are back around to the 69 of Lucas Gortman. 15 laps to go. Gortman leads. David Brown in the 2nd spot. Tyler Daniels Racing has been fortunate to have a lot of partners that have helped us out on a number of events. Among those, one of the most important has been Maconey Setup Shop. Maconey providing setups for TDR leagues, providing prizes and giveaways for TDR special events. Jeff Maconey has been a fantastic supporter of Tyler Daniels Racing. If you need setups and you're looking for someone to help you build a setup for a race car, to provide a setup that's going to make you competitive, look no further than Maconey Setup Shops. Out front, it's the 69 of Lucas Gortman. Gortman closing in on the 710 of Jared McKinney. McKinney right now in 9th spot, the last car on the lead lap. 14 laps to go through the short chute into turn number 4. Gortman trying that outside line as McKinney keeps that 710 car low and out of the way, giving the leaders plenty of room. Aaron Johnson trying to close in on the 61 of Keith Fonseca. Let's go see what that battle looks like as Johnson has closed again. Aaron Johnson fell back early. Car seems to drop off less on the longer runs, but on short runs, not very quick. So Aaron Johnson struggling a little bit early in a run. Out front, it is the 69 of Gortman just giving up the lead to the 3 of David Brown. So Brown gets by Gortman as both cars have gone by that lapped car of Jared McKinney. McKinney, the first car on the 1 lap down. David Brown leads. Gortman is in second, Trumbley third, Brinkley fourth, Fonseca in the fifth spot with Johnson in sixth. Gortman looking back to the inside, right on Brown's bumper, pulls down and tries to make the pass on the back straightaway. Don't know if Gortman's going to be able to do it. He's going to get back in line and try to hold on to the draft behind the three of David Brown. Brown in that Bass Tracker, Bass Pro Shops Chevrolet doing a nice job. The Toyota of Lucas Gortman runs second. Behind them in third spot, it's the Mustang of David Trumbley. Gortman looks to the inside. He's got two wheels right on the apron. A couple of feet separating those two cars as they come down the front straightaway. Gortman looking to the inside. David Brown on the outside. They come past the start-finish line, 12 to go. Gortman gets back in line as they drive down into turn number one. David Brown running a slightly higher line, allowing the momentum to give him a better run down the straightaway. Gortman looks to the inside in turn number two. And come out of two onto the back straightaway. Gortman with a nice run. Doesn't look like he's going to have quite enough to get it done. Gets back in line behind David Brown. Brown and Gortman putting on a little bit of a show. Driving now into turn number three. Lucas Gortman trying to close in on the three of David Brown. Brown holding on to that lead. Lucas Gortman trying to find his way past. It's Brown, Gortman, Trumbley, Fonseca, Johnson, Brinkley, Marty Brown, and Tyler Daniels, the 8 cars on the lead lap. Aaron Johnson trying to close in on the 61 of Keith Fonseca. Out front, it is Lucas Gortman working his tail off to try to find his way around the three of David Brown. I think Gortman believes that if he can just get past this car number three, he can pull back out front and hold on to that lead. Gortman drives hard into turn number three. Brown drives in deep on the outside. These two cars side by side putting on a whale of a show. And Gortman trying to make his way past the three of Brown. They go into turn number four. Gortman on the inside, Brown on the outside. Gortman trying to pull that position. And it looks like Lucas Gortman may be able to hang on to this one as David Brown doesn't quite get off of turn four well enough, although Brown is coming back on the outside. Gortman drives down into turn number one. Brown drives that car in a mile deep into turn number one. The three slides up. Gortman hangs on as they come into turn number two. Gortman on the inside, Brown on the outside. The high line really working well for that Bass Tracker Chevrolet. Down the back straightaway, David Brown's going to hold on to the lead. Brown does a nice job of fighting off the challenge from Lucas Gortman. Further back in the field, we can see that Aaron Johnson has made his way past the 61 of Keith Fonseca. Johnson has moved back into the fourth spot. It's Gortman, Brown, Trumbley, Johnson, Fonseca, the top five, with Brinkley in sixth, Marty Brown seventh, and Tyler Daniels running eighth. 10 laps to go. David Brown in the lead. Let's have one more look. Actually, let's don't, because we've got quite the battle shaping up between the 69 of Gortman and the 3 of Brown. Gortman tight on Brown's back bumper, now backs off as they go into turn number one. Gortman maybe trying to find a way to get a run here, see if he can get underneath the 3 of David Brown. Brown really using the high line to his advantage earlier to hold off the 61 or the 69 of Gortman. Now down the back straightaway, Gortman again right on Brown's back bumper. We can see some lap traffic coming into play. That's going to be the 25 of Tyler Daniels. Daniels currently the last car on the lead lap in 8th. Gortman using a slightly higher line this time. Brown gets a little sideways as he comes off of turn number one. That was a little bit of a problem for David Brown as he comes off of turn number 3, now into turn 4 and onto the front straightaway. Brown hanging on, Tyler Daniels out front. David Brown trying to pick up some of the draft of that 25 car, allowing him to stretch out the lead to about 2 car lengths over the 61 of Gortman. Let's take one more look at how they run on the Speedway. It's Brown up front, Gortman in second. The next car on the Speedway behind these two, the 710 of McKinney. McKinney in 9th, 1 lap down. Behind McKinney, the next car on the Speedway is the 00 of Johnson. Johnson currently being shown in the 4th spot with Keith Fonseca in 5th. Will Brinkley in the 47 now being shown in 6th. Then the 16 of Fisher. He is in 10th spot, 1 lap down on the Speedway behind Fisher. That's the 41 of Marty Brown in 7th. Behind Marty Brown, that is the 26 of Bradshaw. Bradshaw in 11th, 3 laps down. Then behind Bradshaw, we're around to Tyler Daniels. Daniels gets into the wall as the leaders go by. Marty Brown and David Brown and Lucas Gortman putting on a show. 8 laps to go. Brown and Gortman racing hard. Gortman trying everything he can to get position on that 3 car. David Brown doing a nice job of using the Speedway to his advantage, taking the high line when he needs to hold on to momentum, using the low line to keep Gortman from being able to work too much to the inside. Down out of turn number 2 onto the back straightaway. David Brown holds the lead. Gortman pulls aside him down the back straightaway. Will Brown be able to hold on one more time? Or is this going to be the corner where Lucas Gortman finally makes the pass on the 3 of David Brown? Brown drives in a mile deep, uses that high line to his advantage, comes off of turn number 3 onto the short chute. Looks like Gortman got a little better pull out of the 3rd turn that time. Brown coming back on the outside, trying to stay close to the 69 of Gortman. They come out of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. Lucas Gortman with the lead. Brown trying to fight his way back on the outside line. At the line, it will be David Brown with the lead. There are 6 laps to go. Brown leads, but Lucas Gortman has position as they go into turn number 1. Brown drives hard into turn 1. Gortman right down on the white line. David Brown using the momentum associated with that high line to hold off the 69 of Gortman. They come through turn number 2 out onto the back straightaway. David Brown hangs on to a slight lead as they start the drag race down the backstretch. Brown holding on one more time as Gortman just can't quite get clear of that flying number 3. Into turn number 3, Gortman looks to the inside again. Brown drives in deep, now gets right on the white line. Into the short chute, Gortman closing. He's a half a car length now, less than half a car length behind as they go through turn number 4. They'll come out onto the front straightaway. That Tracker Chevrolet leads the way. Lucas Gortman in that Toyota Camry running second. Sorry, not a Camry, but he is running second. David Brown with the lead. Lucas Gortman in second. Gortman pulls down onto Brown's back bumper. They go through the short chute. Now out of turn number 2 onto the back straightaway. Gortman trying one more time. Car gets a little sideways as he comes out of turn number 2, but he's got a pretty good run. Gortman trying to get to the inside as the lap car of Mark Bradshaw comes into play. Out front, Brown leads, 5 to go. Trying to hold off the 69 of Lucas Gortman. Both cars closing in on lap traffic. Lap traffic will come into play as the 26 of Bradshaw provides a little drafting help to the 3 of David Brown. Gortman right on Brown's bumper as they go down the front straightaway. Both cars making their way past the 26 of Bradshaw. 4 to go. Brown up front. Gortman second. Trumbley third. Johnson fourth. Fonseca fifth. Brinkley sixth. Marty Brown seventh. Those cars on the lead lap as we watch Lucas Gortman all over the back bumper of the 3 of David Brown. Gortman off the turn onto the back straightaway, trying to get a run. Doesn't quite get off the corner well enough. David Brown will hold on to the lead with 4 to go. See another lap car coming into play. That's the 16 of Fisher. Fisher currently 1 lap down in 10th. Don't know if his traffic will come into play for these leaders or not. Gortman takes a peek to the inside out of turn number 4. Going to try to make a pass here as they come onto the front straightaway. Gortman with a nice run. David Brown on the outside. Will Lucas Gortman have enough race car to get it done? I don't think so. At the line, it looks to me like it's going to be David Brown, and Brown will lead with 3 laps to go. David Brown leading. Gortman drives hard down into turn number 1. Brown coming back on the outside. A lot of side-by-side racing as they come into the short chute between 1 and 2. Gortman really drives in deep this time. Brown trying to hang on that high line, but it looks like Lucas Gortman may make this pass stick. No, Brown comes back on the outside. Down the back straightaway, David Brown trying to hang on as he is on the outside. This is the best challenge Gortman's been able to mount so far. Both cars closing in on the lap car of Fisher. Into turn number 3. Brown drives in a mile deep. Really drives that 3 car into the corner hard. Looks like Gortman's going to drive off of 3 a little bit better. Now through 4 and back onto the front straightaway. Will Lucas Gortman be able to make this pass stick? They come out of 4 onto the front straight. Gortman not quite clear as Brown stays to the high side. Gortman out front, Brown in second. Brown trying to side draft Lucas Gortman at the line. Lucas Gortman is going to lead that lap. 2 to go. Lucas Gortman leads. Brown drives deep into turn number 1. Lucas Gortman coming back on the inside. Corners are kind of like a teeter-totter. If you go in hard, you come out soft. There's a balance to them. You go in easy, you can come out harder. So this is all about managing that corner entry and exit speed to get the fastest time through the corner. Down the back straightaway, David Brown has retaken the lead using a little draft from the lapped car of Fisher to hold off the 69 of Lucas Gortman. Brown coming out of turn number 3 into turn 4. Fisher decides to stay low. That's going to give Brown and Gortman the high side. Fisher electing to let the leaders solve this between themselves. They come out of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. David Brown will take the white flag this time by. Brown trying to break the draft with Gortman. He's about 3.5 car lengths ahead, trying to keep Gortman from using a big run in the draft to make the pass. Into turn number 1 now. Brown comes through 1 and out onto the short chute. Gortman 2 car lengths back. They go into turn number 2. Gortman looks to the inside. Brown taking that high line. Gortman looks low. Brown comes out of turn number 2 onto the back straightaway. Gortman with a nice run. Can't quite get there. Lucas Gortman pulls down onto the Brown's back bumper. These 2 cars nose to tail. Gortman now looking to the high side. Brown moves back up to the high spot. They come into turn number 3. It's going to be David Brown and Lucas Gortman. This is the race, boys and girls. This is for the win. David Brown holds off Lucas Gortman as they come out of turn number 3. Gortman's final opportunity is going to be right here. They dive down into turn number 4. Gortman looks to the inside. Brown comes down low, slams the door as they come out of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. Gortman looks underneath. Car gets sideways. Lucas Gortman trying to turn down under the 3 of David Brown, but at the flag, it's going to be David Brown with a win. Lucas Gortman will come home in the 2nd spot. Gortman running a very nice race to come home 2nd. David Trumbley will finish up 3rd, with Aaron Johnson taking home the 4th spot, it looks like. Keith Fonseca will come home in 5th, with Will Brinkley 6th, Marty Brown in 7th, Jared McKinney in 8th, Tyler Daniels in 9th, Fisher in 10th, and Mark Bradshaw finishing up in 11th. Bradshaw in the pits at the end of the race there. Quite a race. David Brown got out to a lead early. Relinquished that lead on about lap 14 to Lucas Gortman. Then Brown really took the lead again as pit stops came into action. David Brown taking that lead back. Gortman finishing in the 2nd spot. Quite a run. TDR League of Xfinity League meets every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. So if you're interested in running in the TDR Xfinity League, find the TDR Facebook page, ask to join, then go to tylerdracing.com and request to join the TDR Motorsports League. That includes the League of Legends and the TDR Xfinity League. There is no requirement for a minimum number of races. You can race as much or as little as you wish. That's going to do it for this TDR Xfinity League race for the Johnson iRacing team on the Johnson iRacing Network. This is Aaron Johnson saying, go fast, turn left, have fun.